This anime promises a powerful and intense journey that trains empathy in a way rarely seen. I'm Oliver, a psychologist, and recently, as I rewatched Fullmetal Alchemist to prepare content for my channel, episode 4 struck me with its profound implications. It raises essential reflections that deserve attention. If you're a fan of Fullmetal Alchemist, like the video, and let me know in the comments if you'd like more content like this. Nina is a character whose brief appearance delivers a profound social critique that touches on psychology, philosophy, and reflections on society itself. The anime brilliantly blends these elements, ranging from lighthearted and fun moments to deeply reflective and tragic scenes. While it contains comedic moments, it astonishes by delivering intense emotional twists, and episode 4 is among its most haunting. It tackles themes like relentless ambition, parental cruelty, and the loss of human essence. The protagonists, Edward and Alphonse, visit Show Tucker, an alchemist specializing in chimera research, seeking knowledge on biological transmutation. They're greeted by Nina and her dog Alexander, and the episode starts off lightheartedly, giving no hint of the tragedy ahead. Tucker, obsessed with his work, devotes his time and energy to an experiment he hopes will secure his state alchemist certification. His home, chaotic and devoid of warmth, reflects both his dedication to his craft and the emotional neglect he imposes on his daughter and household. As the episode unfolds, we see that Tucker is under relentless pressure for results, as his title as a state alchemist provides him with a comfortable lifestyle and a large home. Yet, to retain this status, he commits the unthinkable, sacrificing both his daughter and their pet to create a human-animal chimera, prioritizing scientific advancement over humanity. This revelation is shattering, making us ponder how ambition and self-interest can drive people to dark, unthinkable acts. This episode starkly illustrates the concept of the fraud triangle, a model developed by sociologist Donald Cressy. This triangle identifies three factors that can lead someone to commit immoral acts. First, there's pressure. In Tucker's case, the pressure to produce impressive results and maintain his alchemist status pushes him to an extreme. Second is rationalization, where a person justifies their actions as necessary or morally acceptable. Tucker, for instance, convinces himself that sacrificing his daughter and the family pet is justified for the benefit of science. Finally, there's opportunity. Tucker sees his family as an easily accessible resource for his experiment. He exploits young Nina's vulnerability and innocent affection, making her a tragic victim of his reckless ambition. Nina, who shared how her father was emotionally distant, lost in his studies, could never have anticipated the horror he would bring upon her. To the very end, Tucker remains disturbingly devoid of genuine remorse, choosing instead to rationalize his twisted actions as a necessary advancement. This unsettling behavior reveals how rationalization and lack of empathy can drive a person to disregard human bonds entirely, turning love and care into tools for personal gain. The episode concludes on a heartbreaking note, and Nina's tragedy becomes etched in the minds of every viewer. Through it, we see how financial pressure, unchecked ambition, and rationalization can lead people to commit unimaginable acts, even against those they should protect. This episode pushes us to consider the boundaries of ethics and morality, exploring how far someone might go to preserve status or reach a goal. A uniquely impactful aspect is that it involves two types of victims who evoke our natural empathy: children and animals. A study by criminologist Jack Levin reveals how selective our empathy can be, often directed more strongly toward those we view as vulnerable. In his study, participants were presented with a fictional news story of a victim severely injured by a baseball bat, rendering them unconscious and with multiple broken bones. The victim varied across four categories: a human baby, an adult, a 6-year-old dog, and a puppy. The study's results revealed that people expressed significantly higher levels of empathy toward victims they perceived as more defenseless, specifically the human baby and the puppy. This suggests that our empathy is not entirely rational, but is heavily influenced by perceptions of vulnerability and incapacity for self-defense. In the case of children and dogs, we recognize their state of dependency, which evokes within us a stronger sense of protection and care. Many people even view dogs as family members or as children themselves due to this close emotional association. In episode 4 of Fullmetal Alchemist, this dynamic of empathy is cruelly explored as it involves both a child, Nina, and her dog, Alexander, one of the animals we most closely identify with emotionally. If a different animal were involved, our reaction might be different. The concept of compassion collapse can explain this phenomenon, suggesting that our empathetic limits vary, and that not all beings evoke the same emotional responses. Animals that are part of our daily lives, like dogs and cats, tend to receive more empathy than others, such as cows or chickens, because these latter animals have become associated in our minds with food and routine, which diminishes our compassion toward them. In The Science of Compassion, psychiatrist Javier Garcia discusses how we feel empathy selectively and why scenes like those involving Nina and Alexander have such a strong impact. When we witness a child and a beloved pet suffering in such a brutal manner, the emotional impact is incomparable. Sho Tucker, the character responsible for this atrocity, becomes one of the most hated figures among Fullmetal Alchemist fans because he subverts our natural expectations of parental protection. The parent-child relationship is culturally symbolic of care and security, so seeing this bond distorted in such a grotesque way evokes even greater repulsion from the audience. Nina, as a young child, cannot fully grasp what is happening, amplifying our sense of indignation. For the protagonist Edward, discovering what Sho Tucker has done triggers a mix of anger and compassion. His reaction is immediate. He confronts Tucker without hesitation, expressing the pain and outrage anyone would feel upon witnessing such cruelty toward a child and a cherished animal. This type of narrative also pushes us to reflect on human nature and empathy itself. Dr. William Casebeer, an expert in cognitive science, demonstrated how a well-crafted narrative can alter our brain chemistry through the release of chemicals such as oxytocin and cortisol. Oxytocin, associated with feelings of well-being and emotional bonding, is released in situations that trigger our instincts to care and protect, as with Nina's relationship with her dog. Cortisol, on the other hand, is linked to stress, keeping us alert and focused on the danger at hand. When we watch Nina and Alexander's scene, the cortisol spike heightens our sense of fear and despair, while oxytocin boosts our urge to protect and comfort. Interestingly, the brain does not entirely distinguish between a real image and a fictional representation, meaning our emotional response to an anime scene can closely mirror our reaction to real-life situations. Scenes like this one not only elicit intense emotions, but also contribute to our emotional growth. The more we understand our emotions, the better we become at managing our feelings and responding healthily to challenging situations. This episode of Fullmetal Alchemist stands as one of the most shocking in anime history, and the impact it leaves teaches us about the depth and complexity of human empathy. Let me know in the comments if you remember other impactful anime scenes you'd like to see discussed on the channel. Don't forget to subscribe and share for more powerful content. This is just the beginning. See you soon.